Hey there, thanks for joining us on WFMI Plus. I'm Tim Buckley. We're watching still the on again, off again rain that's kind of been with us pretty much the whole day, right? You dealt with this in the morning, the midday, the afternoon, and now this evening we're starting to get a little bit of a lull in the action. More dry spells starting to kind of develop on the radar, and those gaps will only get bigger. I actually expect some sunshine to come out into the day tomorrow. We're not totally done with this system though. It's a swirling low pressure that's still going to be with us tomorrow and even a bit into the day on Wednesday. So we've been talking about this for a while. We're going to keep it going. Lots of rain on and off, and yes, a couple thunderstorms. I'm a little concerned for Tuesday. With more sunshine, it's kind of maybe a bad thing because you add more fuel, you could create a couple thunderstorms. We didn't really deal with that today. It was more or less just a gloomy day of weather with a good amount of clouds from time to time. This is the view from our Winston-Salem sky camera from morning to midday to afternoon, and well, now we're sitting here on your evening. You can really notice those low clouds that have developed and continue to kind of hang over our Triad area as we go throughout the night tonight. On again, off again showers could still be a part of that equation, but there aren't that many of them left at this point. We will see some new ones start to redevelop even as we're sleeping and going through that nighttime hour. Rainfall today is really dependent on where you are, but kind of the broad brush of this is between about 1 and 2 inches of rain across our Triad area. Asheboro right around 1 inch, 1.25 in Lexington, about 2 inches so far on the day, the 24-hour period in Winston-Salem, and over 2.5 inches, if you can believe it, up there in Mount Airy. Greensboro closing in on 1 inch, but not quite there. Burlington quite a bit lower, just not as many heavy rain bands moving their way into that corner of our area. I want to point something out though. You see all this? I don't know what's going on in Wilkesboro, but check this out. Close to 4 inches of rain measured at the gauge in Boone. That's significant rainfall. There has been, unfortunately, some flooding reported up in the North Carolina mountain areas. And I want to just kind of step out of the way and show you this. This is a picture from Henry Burton. He snapped this and posted it to X earlier this evening, Twitter, of course. This is right near Grandfather Mountain. If you're familiar with the Grandfather Mountain area, you know the visitor center, you go up way up at the top. Well, if you come down the other side of the mountain, that long winding road, there's a valley. The town specifically is called Linville, North Carolina. You might recognize this restaurant right about there. There's a gas station right over there too. Well, they're having some flooding. The gauges locally, personal weather stations at people's homes up in this area have been registering about 6 to 7 inches of rain just in the last 24 hours. That's too much rain to handle. Even when you're in a drought, even when you're in dry weather, that's going to result in some flooding. So we're not talking about Hurricane Helene 2.0 here, but this is certainly a large amount of water, and just goes to show you, we don't have pictures from everywhere, but that could be the sign of bigger issues hitting the North Carolina mountains yet again. Why do they get it worse? Well, it all has to do with elevation. That mountaintop, of course, is right about 3,000 feet in that valley. The top of Grandfather Mountain is about 5,000 to 6,000 feet, right? So you rise all this tropical moisture up, you're getting heavier rain, and it's just coming down a little bit harder for sure. Our local area, we're starting to see the radar quiet down a little bit. Still have some rain to track for you across Guilford County, Greensboro here, Sedalia, Whitsett, Gibsonville. You're getting a good amount of rainfall, closing in on places like Pleasant Garden too. Northeast getting a good amount of that as well. Right there on the north side of town too, some steady soaking rain as we've been seeing for a while. But this is the exception rather than the rule now. A lot of places have dried up a little bit, not the case for Guilford. Alamance County, you're seeing some showers, mostly focused in here on the Graham and Haw River areas. Not too heavy all the way, but it is still a little bit of rain still. Not too much going on in Caswell County, but if we take a look at Rockingham County, good amounts of rainfall from Ruffin and also into places like Reedsville. You're seeing a good amount of rainfall there as well. Other side of the coin, it's pretty much dry. We showed you the sky camera over in Winston-Salem, Lexington, High Point, not all that much going on at the moment. Same story up in Stokes County right now, but there is plenty of action going on in Surrey County. You have a little bit of a downpour. All of these are just scattered rain showers that continue to form and redevelop. And I hate to see something like this. We talked about and showed you the flooding picture up in the North Carolina mountains. This is like a fire hose. If you want to imagine it like that, someone's got the hose turned on and they've pointed it in this direction, and we're seeing that developing here from Morganton, through places like Caldwell County here and moving up all the way through Boone here. This is good amounts of rainfall, and it really will add up in a big way if that continues to be the case. That rainfall will only get heavier, more intense as it rises up above the mountains. This is right about where the Linville Gorge is for reference, maybe actually right over here. There's Grandfather Mountain. But either way, you're dealing with a lot of rain going up the mountain there. That's going to add up in places like Blowing Rock, Boone, and other parts of that area that you might know very well from the Blue Ridge Parkway. Not expecting severe weather overnight. Thunderstorms aren't all that likely. Can't rule out a rumble of thunder, but overall the storm risk for us is very low. This is for tonight. That risk does remain in southern North Carolina, coastal North Carolina, parts of South Carolina as well. Even a tornado risk. There have been a couple tornado warnings in this part of South Carolina for this evening. There were a couple in eastern North Carolina earlier today. None for our area, but I do have some risk that tomorrow we will have at least a low tornado risk even in the Piedmont. They haven't issued that yet. I'm not in charge of issuing these outlooks, but I'm just giving you my opinion here. I tend to think that we'll have at least some risk of spinning storms tomorrow afternoon across our Triad and Piedmont areas. This is South Carolina. Earlier tonight, this was one of those showers and storms that did have some rotation on it. It doesn't anymore, so they canceled the tornado warning, but it created some flash flooding at least. And this is one of those showers and storms that's likely going to pivot and become one of our next rounds of heavy rain. And I'd be real nervous about this up in that mountainous area yet again. As that pivots northward, that could bring even more heavy rain toward the North Carolina mountains as we go into the nighttime. Now, reports of flooding, where has it been going on? Well, parts of South Carolina have reported some flooding, parts of the North Carolina mountains too. I showed you the picture, but this is a new one, so let me see. This might be the same one that I just showed you. This is a little different. The small town Valley Cruces, you might know that area right there with the original Mass General store. Looks like some flooding up that way near DeWitt Barnett Road, I should say. Some flooding also on the Tennessee side of things, some wind damage in Georgia. Not too busy, but it is something to keep in mind. We've been watching locally for any signs of flash flooding, and everything has been contained and all in all in pretty good shape across our area. This is a live view of our Buffalo Creek camera. It's not totally live, but so happens this picture is only about 2 minutes old, so we captured it at a good time. We can watch the time lapse together and see how it's varied throughout the day. So kind of keep an eye on this. This is around 4 o'clock this afternoon, and then I'm going to step this through here for you so you can kind of see as we go along. So let's put the play button here, and you'll notice how it changes, going down initially and then rising very rapidly closer to 8 o'clock. So just to replay that a little bit more slowly, we'll go back to where it was pretty low. This is around 6 to 7 o'clock. And then look here, once you get closer to 8, boom. That's some really impressive flooding, just going from one side to the other. That's what we mean when we talk about flash flooding. It is worse in cities, places that have all the pavement and the surfaces where the water just cannot penetrate, right? It can't go into the sidewalk, it can't go into the parking lot, it can't go into the roadway, it's got to go somewhere else. Rivers, creeks, and streams, that's where that runoff typically ends up. So that's your Buffalo Creek camera over the last little bit today. Again, it's in its banks. We haven't seen any big problems, but it's just that kind of a day. When you get that much rainfall, it has to go somewhere. Live views across the area looking at High Point, dramatic, kind of moody skies here, but it's not all that wet. Remember, High Point's in a little bit of a break right now. Burlington seeing some steady rainfall, not doing any harm at the moment. Temperatures too are in the 60s, as is the case in Danville, Virginia, where it's just pretty dark. We can forecast darkness the rest of the night for sure. This will be the next round of rain that we're watching. You know, kind of timing this out for us at last check, looked to be about 4 a.m. for our area if we're being generous. So let's kind of take a little view, just a broad brush here. When would that be arriving for us? Charlotte, closer to 1 a.m. Triad, maybe about 3:30. That's assuming a 30-mile-per-hour motion, so it might be a little bit off, give or take. But don't be shocked if this wakes you up while you're sleeping. It could maintain some of that thunder, and we might have that continuing overnight tonight as it moves through our area. So that's kind of the way the system is going to go now. It's not a steady round of rain anymore. You know, we had that really, really humid and moist side of the system earlier. We were on the wet side. Well, now we're going to pivot as this low continues to swirl and swirl around through tomorrow and into Wednesday. we're going to get ourselves in on more of the dry side of the system. So all that's going to mean, yes, we're going to still have some rainfall, but there will be more gaps within the rain. So it's not going to be as steady, not going to be as constant. There will be some sunshine too, but occasionally you still could get hit by a bit of a downpour. So be kind of vigilant for that. This is around 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Still pretty cloudy out there, temperatures in the 60s. Take a look at this. We have a chance to get close to 80 degrees tomorrow now. I'm not sure if I buy it being quite that warm, but we are going to be warmer. More sunshine than we were anticipating a couple of days ago, certainly. So with that, we have to be mindful of where will any showers and storms pop up. Could they grow pretty quickly? And remember, I said before, could they present any sort of a spinning threat? A low-end tornado threat could develop across parts of the Carolinas, including us, for tomorrow. If anything, it would be brief, but something to keep an eye on. So we'll be watching that pretty carefully for you heading into your Tuesday, but also for Wednesday. You know, the next 2 days here, this low pressure area is in no hurry at all. So as it moves off and pivots northward, we'll see scattered on and off again downpours for tomorrow. We'll see that again heading into Wednesday as well. So this is still kind of a 2 more day setup for our area. But these next 2 days will be a lot different than today was. Today we have the gloom, the clouds, no sun, and lots of rain. The next couple days we'll have sunshine, but occasional downpours and possibly the occasional shower or thunderstorm that we have to watch as well going into Tuesday and for Wednesday. Just to show you that futurecast one more time, again, the morning looks pretty dry. If you have to go outside and get something done, you could do it. Afternoon and evening, a little bit better chance of those downpours and possible thunderstorms as well. Wednesday, same idea, a bit drier in the morning, a bit wetter for the afternoon and into the evening. For Thursday, that's when we start to kind of change the weather pattern a little bit. We'll be drying out. Looks to be a little more comfortable too. Temperatures will be right around 80 degrees. As far as the rest of the week, Friday into Saturday, we're pivoting off to some heat here. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s and close to 90 at times, possibly as well. That is going to present another chance of a couple thunderstorms, and a few of those could be heavy duty, but we're just a little far away to say all that much about that. That's kind of the setup as we go toward the end of the week. Rainfall the rest of the week should be in around that 1-inch range, not all that much for most of us, probably a little less than an inch at this point for most of the rest of the area. And the days that look to be the busiest for that would be tomorrow and for Wednesday. The next 2 days we'll have that for that area. As far as Thursday goes, looks to be mostly dry as far as I can tell. Pretty much just a dry day of weather, and that'll be when we see a good amount of sunshine. For Friday, mostly dry too, but again, the heat, the humidity, they're both there kind of taking over a little bit. So we're going to have a good chance to really see some more drought impact across our area. It's been really dry for a good portion of the new year. So what about our drought? It's still here. We get this report issued once a week. It comes out every Thursday. And for that drought number, they take into account all the rain that's fallen through Tuesday. So coming up this week, all the rain that fell today, that'll be impacting the new numbers. So we'll see if that drought gets greatly reduced by the end of this week. Just to recap the forecast for you, there will be occasional rain and storms possible overnight tonight while you're sleeping. Tomorrow, the forecast has changed. It looks to be quite a bit drier than it once did and not quite as wet. There will be occasional showers, but not as many as today. The rain that does happen will be a bit of the downpour variety. Can't rule out a thunderstorm either. So we'll be watching carefully. Tune in to the folks on the morning side of things. I do think that Christian and Ed will have an update for you on as far as how much of a threat of severe weather we have with any thunderstorms that pop up on your Tuesday. As far as the rest of the week goes, on and off rain could continue to be a possibility through your Wednesday, but Thursday looks to be drier and getting a lot warmer too. Mid-80s for there. We're up to around 88 degrees. If that happens, that's the warmest day of the year so far coming up on your Friday. Watch out for a late day thunderstorm. That could be for the afternoon and evening. Same idea for Saturday, and obviously it's a big week locally. We've got the Wilkesboro race, North Wilkesboro, the All-Star race to be specific. They got action going on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but the real deal is Sunday night. Looks to be good weather out there at the track. No threat of rain or storms or anything like that. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s for the end of the week and into the weekend. Thanks for watching here on WFMY Plus. If you're looking for some other weather content, really would like you to encourage you to watch this. It's our News 2 Hurricane special for this year. It's called Eyeing Up Hurricane Season. You can click to it and watch it anytime on demand right here on WFMY Plus.